G'day, I'm here with Matt Finkelstein in Venice at the Kiss the Ground Gardens. Mm-hmm. Matt is the garden manager here. He's been very kind enough to give me a few minutes of his busy day. Doing some really important stuff though. Matt, can you tell me what you're doing here, like as an individual, but also in this situation, and also why you're doing it?
Yeah, so I moved to Venice about 3 years ago. I was living up on the Central Coast, managing a permaculture farm up there, and I moved down here to kind of have a greater, more direct impact on the community. And I got involved with Kiss the Ground about almost 2 years ago, a year and a half ago.
Kiss the
Ground is a nonprofit that's dedicated to regenerative agriculture and soil restoration worldwide. Mm-hmm. So this garden in particular is a demonstration garden for the community. Kiss the Ground's efforts are now going international and going worldwide and really making significant impacts in this movement. So our demonstration garden was kind of an effort to give back to the community. And we primarily focus on programs with disadvantaged adults through an organization called St. Joseph's. Those include folks with mental disabilities, formerly incarcerated, just folks that really need a hand. And they are part of a culinary training program. So they come out and volunteer in the garden to gain kind of further experience with food and where it comes from. Another one of our programs is with an organization called the Safe Place for Youth, or SPY.
Yeah, right.
And that's a program that serves homeless youth in Venice. Homelessness is a huge issue here in LA, and it's getting worse, especially here in Venice. And we truly feel that gardening is a great way to just inspire a sense of path and purpose. And so we work primarily with homeless youth. My intention with them is really just that. I mean, it's not to tell them, hey, you got to get a real job, you got to pay rent, you got to get a career, whatever. Just living a life of path and of passion and purpose. And the garden has shown that. So we piloted that program this past year, and we're going into our second year and looking to actually expand it. So
nice.
This garden itself will have events. In addition to those programs, we'll have events. We have a community composting program, so local members of the community can bring. That's our situation over there.
Yeah, just do a bit of that action, bit of worm farm.
We got a worm, big old worm bin, three part enclosed composting system.
Yep.
This is kind of like our little work area. Kind of a trial run at a wood fire cob oven that we built with our SPY intern, so that was cool. They got to get their hands dirty there. Reclaimed shed.
It's fantastic.
And it's an urban garden in the city, which is kind of one of the more interesting challenges as a farmer and gardener that I've ever had to deal with.
So it can be done.
Yeah, it can be done. I've been farming and gardening for about 10, 11 years now.
Yep.
And I moved here and I'd experienced, a handful of urban farms, but this one in particular is wide open to the public.
And it's right on a fairly busy road here.
Right on a very busy road.
Check that out. I hope you can hear us.
It brings its blessings and its challenges.
Yep.
It's one of the few gardens where people just regularly stroll through it, and I think what we should do is we can go through. We go through a little little walk through.
Yeah.
But having an open garden gives people a chance to see what can be done. Gardens don't have to be behind fences. They don't have to be in raised boxes. They can be in the city, and they can be lush and green and beautiful.
So just on that, what challenges do people starting urban gardens like this, or challenges did you have in managing getting this together?
We definitely deal with a lot of not as much as you'd think, but a lot of what's that? What's nice?
Bureaucracy?
With the bureaucracy. Well, that was already handled by the time I got it. This garden was a vacant lot. For the first several years, and the folks that started it at Kiss the Ground were able to transform it, develop it with the help of many different organizations and hands, and bring it to this point. When I came in, the garden was kind of looking for another spruce up. It needed someone to manage the technical side and really kind of rein it in. Both from an aesthetic point of view. So one of the challenges we do face is the impact of the public and homeless people coming and spending time here. What we're trying to do is
literally like camping here.
Or they'll just hang out for a long time and leave stuff. So that's kind of my that's like one of my personal challenges, is always kind of having to clean up, and also that, you know, having a garden that's wide open to the public, everything you do is on display all the time. So you know, farming and gardening, you always got a boneyard, you always got somewhere behind that you can kind of hide everything. This is about as good as our boneyard it gets.
You're exposed.
You know, like our pots and pans, like they're pretty well organized and stuff, and our back stock of wood and material.
Looks great.
But, you know, it's everything that we do is back here. And you know, it's I think a big part of it also is just you know, really one of the challenges is finding the right funding to keep a program like this going. I mean,
government funding, is that what you
we get grants through LA County, and then we also get
LA County.
Yeah, and also Patagonia Santa Monica wrote us the store.
Oh, really?
They have regional store grants. So
buy some of their kit. That's great.
Yeah, so that's been an incredible support from them. But yeah, as I've taken on the program, I'm starting to do more of the fundraising and stuff now too. So like we're getting our systems dialed here, and you know, I have a great team of, you know, my co-manager. She's focused on doing that direct work so that I can focus on the technical side of and doing the technical side and fundraising and things like that. So that's definitely a thing that's been positive, is looking at, okay, what are our managerial challenges as an organization, as a program, and realizing that what I needed to do was get the technical systems dialed to a point so that I can then step away. So our composting system dialed right now. Our worm, you know, all like those
get
kind of
those
things.
processes and procedures in place, and then I can make it free your time. Now, advice for those thinking about joining an urban garden situation, starting one. You know, there's sort of a couple of key points, takeaways that people could, you know.
Yeah, I guess it just really depends on where you're doing it. I mean, we're here in Los Angeles, and the real estate value of a property like this in Venice compared to, like, say, where the real urban farming movement is happening, because LA has, since I moved here, LA has one of the most thriving urban gardening scenes that I ever would have thought imaginable. So you go a couple miles east, you go into the inner city, and that's where things are really thriving.
Beautiful.
You know, areas like Compton, South Central, like South Central farmers are coming back. That was a 14-acre farm. You remember that film, The Garden, that came out years ago?
Yes,
check that thing out. So that was the 14-acre farm that they took dozers into and just demolished. Huge political thing, huge uproar.
And now
they finally are winning their battle, and they're getting to come back.
Yeah.
You know what Ron Finley's doing, the Gangster Gardener in South Central, really, you know, catalyzing the urban youth in that area.
Cool.
So what we got here,
check those guys out too. So you just Google those guys, and they'll be wonderful.
And there's you know, in LA there's tons of it. So it's really just about finding the right piece of land and finding the right people to work with. And we're blessed here. The collective between our garden program and the two arts buildings, we work with two arts buildings just right here, which is the old Venice Town Hall and the old Venice Courthouse and Jail, and they are dedicated to public art and service to the community as well.
So that's a nice marriage.
So we're in alignment, and we have an agreement with them, because technically this is their land. We have an agreement with them to do the work that we're doing. And so for us, this is, I mean, we talk about it, this is like some of the most prime real estate in Venice, and this is what we get to do, is just grow a garden. So that's our, you know, that's our intention in keeping it going, is just really showing off like what can be done in an urban scenario. And it's not the most ideal layout even for a garden. Like, we're here and the garden wraps around the two buildings, so from a production point of view, it's not the most ideal, but it's still workable, it's still manageable. We're growing trees, we're growing ecology, we're growing food, and it's a wonderful thing to be a part of. So.
And as you said, you know, it demonstrates that anywhere, you know, building, busy road, not the best situation possibly, but can be done. So it's just about, you know, using the principles. Matt, what
it can and should be done.
Yes.
You know, we should be growing food everywhere. We should be growing, you know, having insectary habitat everywhere. It's, you know, the principles of permaculture and regenerative ag and even biodynamics. I mean, we have to green our cities as much as we green.
Well, the Cubans did a good job some decades ago, still doing it. And Matt, who inspired you? Are there any books that you could recommend people read, or even websites? Kiss the Ground, check them out.
Definitely check out kisstheground.com. Gosh, my inspiration, I mean, that goes way back. I mean, I was initially, the first book I read was Michael Pollan's Omnivore's Dilemma.
Yep.
And I was a former collegiate athlete. I played 2 sports through college, and I got really interested in health and wellness from a food point of view. Food was my fuel at that time.
Yes.
And when I graduated, the world was open, and I was trying to figure out what to do. And I was like really deeply embedded in food, and the deeper I went, the folks that I was working with down in San Diego, they're called San Diego Roots or Wild Willow Farm School. And
check them out.
Check those guys out too. They were probably my initial inspiration.
Yep.
They were like, well, cool, you want to know more about your food, you want to know more about like how to eat healthy and how to eat right, go work on a farm. They literally were like, took me to a farm, and I was in my early 20s, and they brought me to my first farm. They showed me how it was done, and I met this whole amazing world and this whole amazing community, and I was like, there was no looking back. I got to be a farmer. So my little saying is,
and you were brought up in the suburbs. Yeah.
I was brought up in the suburbs. I was not brought up by farmers. I made a conscious choice to embrace this, and so I like to say I left one field for another.
Yeah,
this farming just brought everything back to me, and it's just like gave me something. I need to be outside. I need to be working with my hands. I need to be doing something physical. I need to be close to nature.
And you used the word fuel there before. I'm interested to know, when you're an athlete, food was fuel
at that time.
Has your attitude to food changed? Like, is it more than fuel now? Is it sort of more about, I don't know, I mean, is your fuel, as you put fuel into a car? Food for me is it's about the reverence, it's about the harvesting, it's about the ritual.
That's definitely what it became. It became more like we are what we eat.
Yep.
And that became something.
Or we are what we eats.
And what we eat,
that's a moral
exactly. We are what we eat.
Yeah.
So no, I definitely, like, the more I learned, and that was my biggest ahas, was when you grow your own food and you have that intimate connection with it, you realize how important it is, the ways in which it's grown, how the animals were treated, how how your soil was treated, because what you're eating, what plants you're eating, is what you put into your soil, and how you treat your soil. So,
and Matt, final plug for the gardens here. It's open how many days a week? When can people drop in?
They can pop in anytime. I mean, it's wide open right on the sidewalk. Feel free to come into a stroll. We just ask that if you're in the area and you come by, that you just respect the work that we're doing here, and and just like enjoy it. So
fantastic. Pretty
much open all the time. If I catch you here at night, though, I might just give you a hard time, but
yeah, Moonlight is a bouncer as well.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, buddy. Matt, that was wonderful. Thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it, and congratulations. It's such an inspirational story. I hope it's inspired you guys. Share this with anyone you think might get something out of it. We're in the States, but all the principles apply in Australia, anywhere else, and especially if you're here. If you're a chef, get down here, chat to this guy, talk about food, get to know where it's from. Thanks, Matt.
Yeah, thank you.